1986 and Kodak. The camera I'm talking about today is this. It's a Kodak V35, of which there was a whole series of V35s, and this is the K4. And what's so special about it? Well, in one sense, nothing, and in another sense, there is something special about it, because Kodak, from about 1900 to about the year 2000, were an enormous company, filmmaking, chemicals, black and white colour, a whole range, lots of medical products. They were one of the biggest companies in the world, and all revolving around film photography. And they basically, almost you could say, invented snap photography, but they were big providers to the commercial world as well, as I said, particularly in the medical field. Their biggest sales was film, and they had made a whole range of budget cameras, and they had made some good quality cameras in the 1960s, but they came out of 35mm camera production. They still produced a vast array of 35mm films, but in 1986 they brought out, to everyone's surprise at the time, and I remember thinking, what are Kodak doing? They brought out a very sort of compact, basic camera. Now, the market in 1986 was interesting in that it had moved. There was a big thing about Instamatic cameras in the 70s, and Kodak brought out the disc camera, but other manufacturers were making 35mm cameras which you could use very, very easily. 35mm had for a long time in the 60s and perhaps even in the 70s been the resolve of those who had a little bit more money to spend, and a 35mm was seen as serious photography, where the 126 cartridge cameras and the 110 cameras were seen as your snappy, happy cameras. And this is really a happy, snappy camera, I think. Let's have a look at it. There's not a lot to have a look at, basically. We've got at the bottom it says 100 ASA, 200 and 400, and all that actually does is it opens up the aperture. It's rather, if I move it, and it's very, very stiff, but it alters the aperture. That's all it's actually doing. I think at 100 it's basically f8, at 200 it looks like it's a f11, and maybe that's f16. That's how it looks to me. I might be completely wrong. The lens would appear to be quite a right angle lens. If it's a fixed lens, there's no focusing, there's a fixed shutter speed, which I guess is about 100th of a second, and basically that is it. It's a point and shoot camera. To open, you open the camera here at the top, which is a bit flimsy, and it's you put the camera in and it's manual wind on. Now, 1986, things were beginning to get very automated. There was lots of motor wind compact cameras out there. This was moderately cheap, not very, very cheap, but moderately cheap. It was affordable. From my memory, it came, you could buy it in the sort of presentation set with a film. It's got a built-in flash. You wind on, it has 2 batteries for flash, and to use, just point, shoot, click. I suspect the big idea of these cameras was to promote 35mm film, to say to those happy snappers who perhaps had a 126 camera or even a 110 camera, look, you too can afford a compact 35mm camera. And I do vaguely remember an advert of the time sort of promoting that. Well, the big question is, from such a basic camera, can I get any decent results? Let's see what happened when I went out and used the camera. So here we are back at Kodak Castle, and the first series has a teeny bit of light leak, but I think that is more from me loading the film, because the rest of the shots were absolutely fine, and it's a bright sunny day, and I suspect the camera is at f11, so the depth of field is moderately good, so we can read the title of Kodak Castle. And here's a little hut here, signal hut, and we have plenty of tone. The camera is, to my great surprise, I say great surprise, it wasn't a complete surprise, because I've used a similar Kodak compact before, and I was absolutely amazed with how good these little compacts are. They've got the lens right. If you're shooting on a bright sunny day, you should be fine. And the shutter speed, I think it's around 100. I'm not all that steady with a camera, and I didn't suffer too much from camera shake on this little compact. You don't see them too often, but they are around, and if you can pick one up cheaply at a car boot sale or some similar thing, I think they're really quite good fun. This wasn't the sharpest image. They aren't fantastic, but they are far better than you might expect. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.